Peace, family. This is your girl, Queen of Pentacles 1111, and I am back with yet another pick a card reading. This message is coming to you straight from your higher self, letting you know what to expect for the next 3 months. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, pile number 1. We're looking through some messages here that your higher self has for you. Different people have different meanings for the term higher self, but when I'm referring to the higher self, I'm speaking of that version of you that is your goal. If you can think of yourself in the most perfect state, having everything you want, looking just the way you want to look, and feeling just the way you want to feel, when I'm doing these readings, that is who I'm referring to. I believe in the multiverse, and as we know, there are an infinite number of realities out there, and the goal is to tap into the reality that is the highest expression of who you are at this time. So the first 3 cards we have here are the Strength card, the 4 of Pentacles, and the Lovers card. To begin with, for the next 3 months, what I can see coming towards you is, number 1, the love of self. I feel like group number 1, for the past 2 years or so, you've really taken a hit with what's been going on in your lives. I feel like some of you may be feeling like if you can't catch a break. It seems like from the year 2022 or so until now, things have been pretty rough. They've been turbulent. Sometimes you have really, really high highs, and then other times you have really, really low lows. Or even if it hasn't been that extreme, there have just been situations where you feel like you can't catch a break or you can't get ahead, and it's extremely frustrating and extremely discouraging. Your higher self is encouraging you right now. This is a message of encouragement to let you know that the love of self is going to be ramping up within the next 3 months. It's going to be the inception. So it's going to be something like you're going to take action towards either doing something for yourself, for example, like going to the gym or eating right or starting that project that you've been putting on the back burner. Or you're going to go to counseling, or you're going to do something that will better a relationship that you're in, or it's going to improve a relationship that you have with family members or people around you. Another message coming through is that some of you could be somewhat argumentative, or you could be someone who is an avoidant, meaning like you like to keep to yourself. Maybe you isolate yourself when things get pretty rough. So you kind of like shut people out and you'd rather solve your problems on your own. You can also be hyper independent, some of you, and you could have had a very traumatic childhood. And when things get rough, that's what you tend to do, is kind of withdraw and keep to yourself until the problem is solved. Your higher self is asking you not to do that. Your higher self is asking you to give yourself some grace. Your higher self is asking you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and do something different. We all know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Not saying that you're insane, just saying that if you want to experience something different in your life, you got to try something different first. So your higher self is asking you to take a leap of faith on yourself, but do it from a place of self-love. So if the thing doesn't turn out the way you want it to, don't beat up on yourself. Don't feel badly about yourself. You're supposed to encourage yourself. You're supposed to treat yourself as if you would treat a small child who's hurt or who is afraid or who needs to work on their self-confidence. They're asking you to start from within. They're saying that the change should start from home first and everything else will come after. They're letting you know that making the small changes from within is going to bring you to a place of stability in your life. You're going to open up in such beautiful ways to allow better opportunities to come towards you, but it has to start at home first. It has to start within. As they say, as above, so below, as within, so without. So whatever changes you make inside first will bring about the changes on the outside. So that, in other words, your inner reality will start to reflect what your outer reality will be. So they're asking you to make changes. And when you start to do that, life will seem brighter, life will seem smoother. It will almost have a buttery feeling, meaning that it's not rough, it's not tough, it's not hard anymore. Of course, challenges will arise, but once you do the inner work, you'll have the confidence and you'll have the strength and you'll have the endurance to be able to handle the challenges, and it won't feel like just another thing adding to the pile of nastiness that you've been dealing with for the past couple of years. Your higher self is communicating that you've kind of been shutting people out around you who actually want the best for you, and it could be perhaps a trauma response. I feel like some of you watching Group 1 may have experienced traumatic childhoods, and that is why you kind of block people out who are genuinely wanting to help you and they actually care for you. But because you have a sense of this hyper independence, you don't want anyone's help, you want to get this done for yourself, maybe perhaps there's a sense of shame, and your higher self is telling you that you've got to step away from that, move away from it, because nothing is going to go your way until you understand that you are worth it, that you are worth the help, you are worth the caring, you are worth the time, and that you have a purpose here, and you need to kind of hold space. Take up space, don't shrink away, and don't feel like everybody else should be here and not you. They're asking you to stand firmly with who you are and appreciate yourself, love yourself, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself. And when you do those things, everything else will start to fall into place, and it will almost feel as if you're living on a different timeline, in a different dimension, because it'll almost be like you're saying, wow, I don't even know how I got here. I didn't make any major changes, but something feels different. Sometimes the intention to make changes is good enough. Just accepting the fact that something needs to change and that you have the ability to do it and that you are willing to do it is good enough. We also understand it's easier said than done, because setting the intention is actually hard, because you have to do the inner work to make the change, to understand that a change is necessary. You have to look within yourself and examine yourself and say, okay, I do shut people out when I'm feeling scared or hurt, or when I'm going through a hard time. Why do I do this? Then you think, okay, now that I've established that, let me try and set the intention to do things differently. Once you do that, you'll see that your reality will start to change, and it will start to unfold and open up like a flower. For some of you, you won't even be able to pinpoint exactly why this is happening, but you will feel the change before you actually experience the change. So let's move on to the oracle cards. We have the bat and the goat, we have leaping in love, and we have hasta la vista, baby. Okay, so let's start with the animals first. Like I said before, when we think of bats, we think of them being blind. Well, I've just come to realize, and who knew, that they're not actually blind. They just have the ability to rely on their echolocation to avoid objects when they're flying and moving around. So that just goes back to the message of the bat here. You're going to feel the change before you see the change. You're going to feel it within yourself before you actually realize that something different is happening outside of you. For example, if you stand out in the sun, you can't actually see the sun rays, but you can feel them and you know they're there, and it just feels good. It feels like it's nourishing you. It feels like you're in a better mood. Everything feels bright, and that's how you're going to feel. You're not going to know exactly why until later on, because they say hindsight is 20/20. So it's only going to make sense to you, let's say a year from now, that these next 3 months will be the inception. It will be the beginning of the start of the good feeling that will come. The interesting part in all of this is that the good feeling is going to grow from a rocky, dark place. It's going to be a place of you digging deep and doing some shadow work and inspecting yourself, saying, okay, what am I doing wrong? What is happening? What is the missing piece of the puzzle here? And why does it feel like nothing can ever work out for me? And once you get past that, you'll start to be able to say, okay, let me fix it. And this is my plan. Immediately, once you do that and you set a genuine intention to change things, you'll feel the results. So we have the bat here that says, see through the illusion into truth. The bat is letting you know that all of those negative thoughts that you may have of yourself, some of you may be experiencing feelings like low self-esteem and like you can't accomplish things because you're not worthy of it, you're not intelligent enough, or you just don't deserve it. You've got to look past those things and you've got to work past those things. And that's why I say I think a lot of you PAL ones are dealing with a lot of issues from your childhood that you have to try and work on. And even if the intention that you set is to book an appointment with a therapist or a counselor, then that in itself is going to unlock a whole new way of living for you. It's going to open you up to a lot of passion, a lot of stability. Okay, and when I say passion, it doesn't necessarily have to be with regards to a romantic relationship because you're letting your walls down. It could be, but it could also be with regards to a passion project that you've wanted to start so badly, but you've always had a sense of like not being good enough. So you've always put it off or put it to the side. But the desire and the want and the yearning is always there. So for those of you who are artists and creators out there, you may just pick up that project again and say, okay, I'm going to actually give it a chance. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. Your higher self is asking you to take the chance on yourself and to see through the illusion of the fact that you think you're not good enough and you don't deserve anything. But when you do take the chance and take that leap of faith, you'll see that yes, you are deserving and you are worthy and you deserve to be here just like everybody else. We also have the goat card here that says to act from your innate wisdom. So your innate wisdom is really the confirmation that this message is coming from your higher self. We also have the cards Leaping in Love and Hasta la Vista Baby. I do believe that a lot of you are going to be letting go of the trauma that you may have experienced through past relationships. I do feel like a lot of you perhaps have been in narcissistic relationships where they would often gaslight you. I feel like some of you may also have been in relationships where the person tried to make you feel less than who you really are, and it got to be so detrimental that you started to believe them. Within the next 3 months, you're going to start working through those issues, those traumas, and you're going to be able to kind of heal through it and let go of some of it and understand that that was a them problem, not a you problem. And you'll be able to kind of let go of a lot of the heaviness and burden and baggage that you've been carrying around. You're going to come to the point where you're going to realize like it's not your burden to carry, that they let you down, they were the poisonous ones, they were the venomous ones, so you could finally set down that heavy baggage that you've been carrying around with you. And immediately you'll see that you'll start to feel a lot lighter. And also, I also see here that within the next 3 months, a lot of you who are searching for romance and that special loved one in your life will open up and you'll clear yourself enough that you'll be able to allow your person to come into your life. Your person who is on the same frequency as you to come into your life. This person will add on to your happiness and they will be your person that you can do life with. But first, you have to work through all the rest of the stuff that's kind of holding you back and making you feel really stagnant in your life, almost like you've hit a brick wall. The higher self really wants to remind you and let you know that it is coming. Brighter days are coming, so don't give up on yourself. Your situation has been rough or turbulent or even stagnant, but your higher self is asking you to look on the bright side, stay the course, and do the work. And immediately, when you set that intention, you will feel the change. Stay hopeful, be brave, be courageous. I wish you all the best. Okay, PAL 1, that was your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye, guys. Peace, everyone. PAL number 2, this is your reading. As you know, it's a message from your higher self with regards to the next 3 months of your life. All right, so let's see the first 3 cards here, which are the tarot cards. All right, we have the 5 of Swords, we have the 3 of Wands, and we have the Moon card. So for my group 2s, I feel like your higher self is actually letting you know that your manifesting skills within the next 3 months are going to be improving considerably. I do believe that they're asking you to rely heavily on your intuition within the next 3 months. When I say the next 3 months, I don't necessarily mean that all of these huge changes are going to start and end in the next 3 months. I mean that you are on your way to becoming a master manifester within the 3 months. It will begin within the next 3 months. It will be the beginning of your journey as a master manifester. You're going to put certain things into place that will allow you to become this person who is able to call into your reality whatever it is you desire. They're asking you first and foremost that you need to put a couple of things into place before you become this type of magician. They're asking you, your higher self is asking you to do a clearing of some kind, a clearing of your energy body. They're asking you to do some shadow work to get rid of anything lingering within you, Group 2, that you feel could be holding you back and hindering you from living the type of life that you really want to live. They're asking you to really make a good effort to clear that space. It could be through meditation, it could be through counseling, it can also be through exercise, it can be through music, listening to different types of frequencies that help bring you to a certain level of vibration or ground you or center you. It could be anything that makes you feel as if you're clearing out old energy, stagnant energy, negative thought patterns, negative habits. You could also clear out negative people from your life whose energy is stopping you or holding you in a space where you don't want to be. It can be an energy that's like putting you in a box. It could be, for example, and this is just an example of a spouse or a loved one who's constantly reminding you that you cannot achieve a certain thing or that you are not deserving of achieving this thing. Your higher self is asking you to do your best to work through it. Now, for some of you, you're in a situation where you live with that person, that character who is hell-bent on making you feel as if you will not achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. And you can't just say, okay, I'm going to get rid of these people. I'm going to get away from them and move away from them and never see them again. Some of you are married to these people. Some of these people are your parents or your siblings. So your higher self is reminding you that this is where the hard work comes in. They're asking you not to allow them to trigger you. You know them very well, and you know that they will try their best to throw you off balance and to pull you down to their level, because when it comes down to it, they are speaking from their own perspective, right? They don't think that you can't do these things. They know that they can't do these things, and they want you to feel the same way too, because as we know, misery loves company. So because you know these people very well, and you know their habits, and you know their script, and you know their plan of action with regards to all the negative junk that they love to dump on you, if you can see it coming sometimes, do not react, do not react, do not react. Do not let these people trigger you, because sometimes they could be what people call energy vampires, and they love to trigger you because if you react, they soak up all of the energy that you are just bleeding out from your heart. Because I do believe my Group 2s are very genuine people. You have a very strong sense of what is right and what is wrong. And for Group 2, truth is very important, and speaking your own truth is very important as well. And a lot of the time, depending on who you're surrounded by, that irks and triggers a lot of people who are not brave enough or strong enough to speak their own truth and stand up for what is right. And when they're not brave enough to do these things, it bothers them to see people who can and who do consistently. So they will try and trigger and throw you off. So your higher self is saying the best way to overcome this is to direct your attention elsewhere. Of course, this goes without saying, if you are in danger, if they're triggering you in a violent way, then, if your health, your safety, or your life is going to be compromised in any way, absolutely you leave. But if it's just somebody who likes to try and get under your skin, and you don't really have the resources to leave that person at this point in time, the higher self is asking you not to react. Direct your attention elsewhere, pretend it's not happening. If they're saying something to you to get a rise out of you, you ignore it. If they're telling you that you can't do something that you want to do, ignore them. Do not let them trigger you, because if they can control your emotions, then essentially they are controlling you. And we want to move away from that. We want to get you, Group 2, to a point where you can sit and think about what it is you want to achieve for yourself within the next couple of years and make it a reality. And that we want you to understand that it is possible. So the only way you can do that is by recognizing and acknowledging your true strength, and also clearing out a lot of energies that are keeping you in a box, that are making you feel stagnant, that are making you feel insecure, that are making you feel small. And once you do that, once you've mastered that, and it is not easy, you will be able to look at what you want and command it into your reality. You are very powerful and spiritually inclined, Group 2, and your higher self wants you to acknowledge that your minds are extremely strong, and a lot of people can see that about you, and you can't see it about yourself a lot of the time. I think there are glimmers of it every so often, Group 2, but for the most part, you're so humble and so kind that you don't want to seem cocky or overly sure about yourself. You don't want to seem swell-headed, so you pretty much keep yourself at a certain level. They're asking you not to do that anymore. They want you to be somewhat full of yourself, and I don't mean full of yourself in a negative way. I mean full of yourself in the sense that you are full of the genuine expression of who you are. We have the Oracle cards here as well, Group 2. I don't quite know how to say these names, but I think it's Sauche, I'm not sure. And this card says grounding, and we have Queen Mother Nanny. She says liberation. We have number 2, which is patience, and we have the music card. So this is exactly what I was talking about here, that sometimes it's easier said than done when you're trying to kind of like neutralize other people's negativity. It's very hard to always be the positive one or always be the uplifting one, the one who brings things back to a positive level and doesn't allow things to stay deep down in the muck. It's very hard to consistently be that person, but you have to for your own sake, not for their sake. It is for your future. So these cards here, these oracle cards, are speaking very, very directly to you, Group 2, letting you know that your liberation is coming, but you are going to liberate yourself. And when we say liberate, we're not even necessarily speaking of a physical sense, but we're speaking more of a spiritual sense and an emotional sense. And it's going to be a feeling of self-mastery. You're going to feel like, okay, I finally friggin' figured it out, how to deal with these people. And they're not so tough after all. They don't have that much control of me after all. This situation has no control over me after all. I can do this. Your higher self is reminding you that the process is not going to be linear. It's not going to be straightforward like, okay, you're going to figure out how to master this situation and you're just going to make progress and just keep going. It's going to be an up and down situation. Some days you'll figure it out, some days not so much. But the point is that you keep going and you never stop. And because they want you to understand that being thrown off emotionally is actually part of your process. It's part of the journey, a very necessary occurrence, because it's going to shape you and it's going to let you know who you are when you're up against opposition, how strong you are when you're up against obstacles. It's going to bring you such pride to see that you're able to overcome all of it. They're letting you know that. So they're also letting you know that in situations that often trigger you, they want you to do things like grounding yourself, going out in nature, taking off your shoes, meditating, anything that makes you feel stable and balanced. Well, and I think my group 2s, you're extremely musically inclined. It doesn't even necessarily have to be that you play musical instruments. It could also be that you are a lover of music. But if you are somebody who is a composer or a musician, they're asking you to really dive into that aspect of yourself, especially when things get tough. So always keep your music close by so that when this person is insisting on poking at you and evoking some kind of emotion out of you, the best way to react is to hold on to the music. You are going to put on your music and tune them out. Reach for any frequencies that will help you bring you to a state of calm, so you can kind of move forward and move above these people or situations. So rely heavily on music, and also I should also mention that it doesn't necessarily have to be just music in the traditional sense. It could also be you going outside and listening to, the movement of the water, or listening to the birds chirping or the trees rustling when the wind blows. This is also an example of what could be considered music to your ears or music to the soul. And that is what you need to concentrate on. Always direct your attention towards a thing that will bring you back to your center. Because these situations and people, they are determined to throw you off and take you out of alignment. So your higher self is saying, as long as you can do that, pile number 2, you have what it takes to become this person who sees it, who wants it, and who gets it. But first you have to try and master your surroundings and how you respond to them. You are definitely capable of doing it. I think that's it for group number 2. That's the end of the reading. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope something I said resonated with you today. Until we see each other again, guys. Bye. Alright, group 3, this reading is for you. I hope you're doing well. Let's jump right into the tarot cards. We've got the Empress, the Devil, and the Knight of Wands. So for the next 3 months, your higher self is basically telling you that you're going to give birth to a new version of yourself. You're going to create a new lifestyle, a new way of living, a new reality, a new vortex, a new dimension for yourself to reside in. And it's going to be one that's going to bring about a sense of freedom, a sense of clarity, a sense of belonging, the sense that things are just going right. Like whatever you're going through, it feels good, it feels great, and it's because you're getting to the point where you're letting go of things that are holding you back, that are keeping you stagnant, that are like putting obstacles in your way. I feel like in all three piles, and just the general public, have been feeling for the past couple of years this sense of resistance, like something is putting up a resistance for everything they do, like there's always some kind of blockage. When you're doing the right thing, you think you're going in the right direction, then oops, something comes up that throws you off or slows you down or throws your plans off completely. Well, for group 3, the good news is your higher self is letting you know that within the next 3 months, this is the beginning of you sloughing off the dead energy, sloughing off the negative habits and behaviors that have been holding you back from achieving your goals and becoming the greatest and best expression of yourself. My group 3s, some of you can be experiencing situations of addiction, and you're always experiencing that kind of pull and tug. Your higher self is letting you know to stay the course, stay strong, and stay focused on your goals, because slowly but surely, that pull and tug and that yearning and that dependency will slowly start to fade away with your constant and consistent work on it. They want you to understand as well that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. There seems to be a lot of people in group 3 who are fighting battles that nobody knows about, those silent battles that for whatever reason we feel too ashamed to reveal to others. Maybe we're too embarrassed, maybe it's just easier to kind of forget that those battles exist and that you've gone through such a traumatic event, and you feel like maybe if you don't talk about it or you just pretend that it doesn't exist, maybe it will go away. Maybe there's some things that some of you have gone through that maybe there are some things group 3 that you've experienced or that you've done that you say to yourself, you know what, I'm taking this one to the grave with me. Nobody knows. Nobody is going to know exactly what I've done, what has happened. Some of you have actually hurt other people perhaps, and you're carrying that guilt or that burden with you in your everyday life. Some of you may have up until now been living a life that you're not exactly proud of, or maybe a lifestyle that you're not too proud of. I feel like some of you in group 3 are carrying very heavy energy that has been holding you back and making you feel trapped, making you feel oppressed and suppressed, and making you feel like nothing is ever going to change, and that your true self, who you really are, is not something that you want to put on display or exhibit, and you don't really want people to know what you're feeling because you feel a sense of shame about yourself, like whatever you're doing is not good enough, that somehow whatever you've gone through in your past has tarnished you in some way, shape, or form, and it's put you beneath others. And I feel like some of you group 3s are walking around with very heavy energy. The good news with all of that pile 3 is that something is going to occur. Something is going to happen. It could be something very minor, but I do believe that your higher self is planting seeds of prosperity and healing, seeds of self-worth and confidence within you. And I believe that it's happening when you are asleep at night, and you're going to start to feel like you're blooming. You're going to actually get to a point where you're going to look back at your old life and your former existence and be like, my goodness, I can't believe I lived like that. You're going to feel like your past felt really dark or really gray or really heavy, and that now as these seeds are being planted within you, you're going to feel like you're blooming. You're going to feel like everything is more colorful. Even if you're in the dead of winter, you're actually going to feel like things are just brighter and lighter, and you'll have a sense of hope now, that everything doesn't feel so hopeless, and it's going to feel very encouraging for you. And some of you, group 3, won't even know where it's coming from. You'll just one day start to feel it. And some of you will experience a major transformation. For example, somebody who smokes will one day decide that, this is not good enough for me anymore, and will quit cold turkey. And then for some of you, it will be a very gradual process, and both processes are valid. So we see that group 3, you're not exactly happy with the existence that you're living right now, but you always have the idea of what you would like to experience or the life that you would like to live. So your higher self is letting you know that within the next 3 months, they'll be planting seeds, and the best thing about it is that you will be watering them. So you are going to feel the shift within you, unbeknownst to you, but it will be there. And slowly but surely, you will continue to water those seeds. You will continue to nurture them and nourish them. And you will become eventually the sunlight that will help these seeds to blossom and to grow into something amazing, something awesome, and something beautiful. And that something is going to be able to withstand the test of time. For those of you who are struggling with addiction, you are going to be able to finally acquire the resources that you need to help you kick the habit, or to overcome the struggles and stay clean and sober and not feel the need to go back. And it doesn't even have to be an addiction to a drug. It could be addiction to a person, a behavior. It could be addiction to a mindset or speech or anything that is holding you back from being the greatest version of yourself. That is a negative addiction. And it's crazy, but we don't realize that most of us suffer from these types of addictions. So group 3, you will be giving birth to a new version of yourself, a new way of living, a new way of speaking, a new way of talking, a new way of eating. It's going to be something that you would have never seen coming, and that 6 months ago you would have never imagined that version of yourself could really exist. You may have dreamed about it, you may have imagined it, but you never actually believed that you could really access it. Well, it's coming. It is coming, so stay open, stay receptive. So we have the Oracle cards here. We've got the Deer, which is the Pathfinder that tells you to trust your instincts to guide you through the situation. You've got the Kangaroo. It talks about gratitude. It says, be grateful for all you are blessed with. You have the card, the abundance is your right, and feel joy in all you do. This exactly piggybacks on what I was saying. It supports the messages that were coming through the tarot cards. You're going to start to feel abundant. The Empress card is pregnant. It's kind of like you will become pregnant with opportunity, pregnant with potential. Some of you may actually get pregnant, but for those of you who do not wish to have children, you're going to be pregnant with the possibility, with joy, laughter, and jubilance, and freedom and lightness. That is coming for you. The higher self is letting you know that. They're asking you, group number 3, to water those seeds of inspiration that they plant within your subconscious every night by starting your day with gratitude. Wake up every day and give thanks for who you are and how far you've come. And give thanks also for those negative challenges or situations that you've been living in and going through, because it has made you the strong and resilient person that you are today. So start your day with gratitude. That will help you move through and maneuver through these situations a lot more easily. It won't make your life and situations and conditions that you're living in feel as daunting or dire or bleak. And you'll start to switch your perspective. And I think that change of perspective will also help to water those seeds of change and growth and happiness and all the other things that your higher self is asking you to understand. The most important thing that your higher self is asking you to understand is that you are worthy. You are worthy of this happiness. You are worthy of this abundance. And regardless of whatever happened in your past, whatever negativity or pain or challenge or struggles or failures that you've experienced in your past, you are and still remain worthy of a wonderful, abundant existence. And it's possible. It is possible. You just have to know it is possible and not be your own worst enemy. You have to continue to water the seeds of potential. Like, seeds are tiny, tiny little things, but they are found in the darkest of dark soil, and that's when they grow to be the strongest of strong flowers and plants and trees. So look for any tiny little speck of hope in your life that you can be grateful for, and that will help to carry you through. Your higher self believes in you, and they know that on the other side of this dark cloud is your silver lining and the sunshine and everything that is bright and light and happy. It sounds kind of cliche or far-fetched, but it is possible, and most importantly, you deserve it. It is yours to claim. So pile 3, your higher self is asking you to ride this wave, but also remain open to receive wonderful gifts that you will be receiving in the next 3 months to help give you the confidence and the courage to embrace the bigger joys in life and to fight through the negative pitfalls that sometimes occur. So just keep going. Stay aware of your surroundings, remain open, don't close yourself off to positive things, and you'll get there. You will get there. All right, pile number 3, that is your reading for today. I hope something I said resonated with you. I wish you all the best. And until we see each other again, guys, bye.